This is the Metal Queens podcast. I'm Steve Richards. The band is Edge of Paradise, and the lead vocalist is Margarita Monet. They are from LA. They're based in LA. They were founded by Margarita and guitarist Dave Bates. In 2019, they released Universe. In 2021, the album The Unknown, which was produced by legendary Howard Benson, who worked with Hailstorm and Seether. In 2023, Edge of Paradise released the highly anticipated Hologram. And this year, back in March of this year, their sixth studio album was released, Prophecy, to go along with two EPs as well. And I'm happy to have Margarita Monet join me here for the first time on the Metal Queens podcast. Welcome.
Thank you for the introduction.
So, what is the story behind you, your background, and how did you become a singer?
Uh, I started playing piano, so I was always in music, but I was never really a singer. I did some musical theater in high school, and then they kicked me out, so they put me in regular theater instead. So then I went to college, and I actually went to college for theater, and I did um, piano performance as a minor. So that was I thought I was going to be a classical pianist or maybe something in science or, theater. So singer was kind of the last on the list, wasn't even on the list until I moved to LA. And when I met Dave, I was working, there was this producer, he hired me and Dave to work on a song, and I was playing piano on it, and then he asked me to sing on it. And we wanted, eventually it kind of turned into a rock song. So he was looking to get a guitar player to play a guitar solo on it. And we, by accident, found Dave. I remember we walked into a music store, just needed a cable for the studio. And Dave was playing Welcome to the Jungle. And, he was shredding solo. And the producer asked him to play on the song. And that's how we met. And it was the timing kind of worked out because Dave had a band previously, and those members, it was Greg Bissonette and Tony Franklin and Robin McCauley, and they all went on with their own projects on like the huge tours. But for example, I think at that time Robin went on tour with Survivor, so Dave wanted to start a band that he can, put all his priority and attention, and I wanted to create something of my own too. So our passions aligned in that. And then, it took us a lot of years to figure out how to write together and all that kind of stuff because we come from such different backgrounds. But yeah, that's kind of the background.
Yeah, speaking of background of you, you're born in Armenia, right? You've lived in Moscow. Did you go to school in New York?
I went to NYU, yeah.
Went to NYU in New York, and now based in LA. So let's talk about this album, Prophecy. Came out in March. I want to ask you about a couple of the tracks, Margarita, on this album and the story behind them. First of all, let's do a big picture question here. The songwriting process for Prophecy. Is it a collaboration between all these guys here in the band, or is it mainly just you and Dave?
Well, actually, Prophecy was very different because we have a new member, Doug Wayand, and he contributed a lot on the album, and it was the first time we also used an eight string on the on any songs. So he was the one that brought that in. So that was the biggest change. Before, I would say I start the song with an idea. I kind of have the song structured on the piano, and Dave, like it's hard to say overall because every song is different. Some songs, like he would start with a riff, or in this case, Doug would start with a riff or an idea, but I would put it on the piano and then record the final vocal. We'd do everything backwards. I would go in the studio and record the song with our Mike Plotnikov, who's been, we've been working with Mike since 2008, 19. And then when we have that and the structure is there, The it's more of a collaborative process between all the guys in the band. But first it starts, with me and the guitarist, whether it's Doug or Dave or all of us. And then once the song is there, we have Jamie, who, takes the song to, to the next level with the drums. Because that's kind of when the song really comes alive with the live drum track, and then Kenny on bass, and then we kind of rebuild the song together. All the guitars are recorded, then I redo all the keyboards afterwards, and then we send it off to mixing. So, but yeah, I mean, it's it's definitely a collaborative process.
Mm. Prophecy Unbound. What's the story behind that song?
Um, so in the song, I say, merge your heart and mind.
Yeah.
So there's a lot, in a way, that song kind of brings the whole album together, because with this album, it's the first time I kind of take a stance for humanity, for our human mind and spirit and heart, because there's a lot to talk about with the concept, and the whole rise of AI. But I started talking about this since our album Universe, but and then with hologram and the unknown. But I always left it up to the listener to decide how they feel about the technology and how it's becoming so prevalent in our lives, taking over a lot of the aspect of our lives in a way, and the rise of AI. But it's
Yeah.
actually the first time where everybody else is now talking about it too. But for me, I kind of tell people how I feel about it. And I'm, always for humanity. And I feel like, our greatest gift is that we can create something out of nothing, because we do have the heart and the instinct and the emotion behind it. Um, so, merging your heart and mind is kind of saying, even though, AI, has can have all the processing power and all the knowledge that's out there on the internet and, wherever else, we still have the power of the heart, and the, instinct behind it. So in a way, the song is about that. It's empowering. It's, manifesting the life you want for yourself, that you want to create for yourself. Kind of saying that, we have that power.
Margarita, the ballad "Hear Me" is a beautiful song. I want to know that where the video was shot, it looks like it was in a castle.
Yeah, it was actually it was a old mansion out here in Beverly Hills. Well, don't
Mm.
tell anybody, because I was supposed to teleport back in time. But yeah, yeah, it was a very fun shoot. It was just because it's so different from all
Yeah.
the videos. So I really wanted to give the song this sort of vintage feel. And some of the lyrics I say, I feel this ancient sound inside me. So in a way, a prophecy, I want it to be very encompassing, the future, the present, the past. It's all within us, and I wanted to kind of capture that side of it. Also, that song touches upon a lot of questions that I've kind of asked myself throughout the years, ever since I remember. I think I was like 3 years old, thinking, what is the meaning of this? So it was kind of nice to also get back to the piano.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful song, "Hear Me," on this album, Prophecy, which came out in March. What's been the response? You hear from fans a lot to this album so far? It's been out for a few months.
Yeah, well, we're very glad to say that people seem to be really connecting to the music. Been getting really great response from fans and from music blogs. So there's been a lot of support. So we're very grateful for that, and it's been really fun playing the songs live, and seeing the reaction of people, how experiencing the song live with us. So it's kind of the best feeling. So it's been fun.
Yeah, we're going to talk about touring in a minute here. For someone watching this, Margarita, who's never heard you guys before, how would you describe the sound now of this band?
I would say it's a cinematic rock band with some industrial edge.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's so hard because a lot of songs are very different. Some songs are more heavy metal, some songs are more classic rock, more of that kind of your classic influence. Then some are very industrial, some are very electronic, some are just piano. So I just say cinematic because overall, I do like to make lyrics that are very descriptive. I love to, create the soundscapes that kind of make you feel something, that are epic and um, kind of teleport you into a movie in a way. So,
All right, let's talk about touring. I know you have a European tour coming up this summer. Do you have a favorite country to play in?
well, actually, we will. So right now we just announced the festival. It's actually in 2026.
Hmm.
So I hope we're gonna have a tour before that in Europe. If not, we haven't announced anything yet, but there will be a tour to go along with it. So, but favorite country, hmm, hard to say because every country can be so different.
Yeah.
I mean, I love playing UK. That's always really great energy from the audience. Germany is always great.
Yeah.
Um, I love Sweden and Finland. I don't know, it's hard to pick one, honestly. I remember one of the most memorable ones. We did a tour back in 2019 before the pandemic, and it was in Eastern Europe. Um, we were in Romania,
Hmm.
and people were just going nuts, like so much passion. It's interesting because we went from Belgium, and Belgium is always great too. People are super supportive, but they're a little more reserved. Oh no, I think it was actually Denmark. So people would clap like that, like very reserved, very polite, which is cool,
Hmm.
and they show appreciation in their own way. And then we went to Romania, which was the polar opposite. Like people were hugging and like, they were kissing Dave. It's really cool. So,
Edgeofparadiseband.com is the website. You can get updates on tour dates and the latest music too. Do you prefer festivals or intimate performances in clubs?
well, it depends. I mean, I do really like doing tours. Um, and some tours, you go to bigger venues. So I like theater venue. I like bigger venues where we have, big stage and we can really present the music how we want to. But I do like the feeling of a tour, kind of consistently playing the shows and you kind of get into the swing of things and, you meet a lot of people. Festivals can be a little chaotic sometimes. You kind of go, play the show, then you get off stage and there's so much going on. So I do like the feeling of a tour. And I do prefer kind of bigger venues just because we can, present the music in a way that I envision with a live show and all of that.
Margarita, I got to ask you about your artwork too. You can check it out on their website, edgeofparadiseband.com. How did you get into art?
Well, I always loved art, and my mom, she paints a lot. Ever since I was little, I
Hmm.
would paint, and she would, get me to do it with her. And my parents also took me to like I grew up in Moscow and there's a museum on every corner and like we would go all the time to museums, theaters, like all that. So it was such a big part of my life. And I always liked creating things. And I also remember we would go like to the beach and my mom would find just random sticks and she would carve like beautiful statues out of wood and sticks. So it's just always a part of my life. And then I kind of stopped doing it when I moved to, went to college and then moved to LA. And then one day I kind of missed it. So I drew something and I posted it online and people were like, oh, I'd like to buy it. So I was really surprised by it. And
Hmm.
then people kind of started asking for it. And then I remember we released our album Universe and I created these special edition box sets and I took wooden boxes and I painted each box for each song on the album.
Yeah.
people were really into that. So that kind of gave me the idea to start incorporating my art into the band. And, then with the next album, The Unknown, I did the lyric and art book where I, made a painting for each song and that became a
Yeah.
book. So I just kept doing it and I have a lot of fun with it. And I'm just super grateful that people support it. It's actually been, very helpful for the band as well. That we have that support because these days it's not easy to
Yeah.
kind of everything going with the streaming and all that how it is. So
Yeah, that's a common theme I hear here from a lot of artists, even about touring too, especially the European artists that I've had on here from a lot of the countries you've mentioned. Their big thing, I'll always ask them, are you ever going to tour the States? And the big thing is cost, always. It's so expensive to tour in the US.
yeah, I mean just getting for them plus the visa costs. I
Yep.
remember for us when we just did this tour with Symphony X, just getting all the gear there is a few
Mm.
dollars there and back. So yeah, it's not easy. So any support definitely goes a long way.
And fans can buy your artwork at the merch tables at your shows too, right? Merch tents.
Yeah, I tried to make a few for each song, I mean each show. So whenever when I can, I try to have it available for sure.
No, that's great. All right, we're going to wrap up. This is the fun part here. 5 questions from Margarita Monet. We'll start with your favorite cover song of all time.
Well, it's funny because just yesterday we did a cover of Love Rain by The Who.
Mm.
It's always been one of my favorite songs. We just rehearsed. We're gonna play it for the first time in Vegas, so it's been in my head the entire day. So I'll go with that.
All right, good one. Favorite female vocalist of all time.
Oh man, that's difficult. Hmm. Well, I like Sharon from Within Temptation a lot. I like that band a lot.
I think I know the answer to this, but maybe it's something else. If you weren't in music, what would you be doing?
I'd like to go to space.
Okay, no, I didn't. I thought you were going to say art, but to go into space. Uh, the first concert you ever went to, who did you see?
First one, well, it was in Moscow. I think it was Britney Spears or something.
I
Yeah,
think you're the second Britney Spears I've had in the last week on here.
I remember I was thinking that, oops, I did it again. I think I was six, maybe, and I had no idea what that meant.
And finally, what is your idea of happiness?
Well, finding meaning in something that I do, that's kind of my way to contribute to the world. That's through music. For me, happiness is finding that passion that fulfills me and that I feel like could make any positive impact on someone's life, in a small way, in a big way, in whatever way. But yeah, for me, it's very important that I feel like um, I'm useful for something, contribute in some way. The
She's
music, yeah, is for me.
she's Margarita Monet. The band is Edge of Paradise. Edgeofparadise.com. Follow them on socials too, Edge of Paradise. You can get the latest on upcoming tour dates. The new album, Prophecy, came out in March. It's out now, their sixth studio album. Margarita, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
And this is the Metal Queens podcast. Thanks for watching. I'm Steve Richards.